Pacific section of Northern Virginia. Today we're talking about the City of Alexandria, which is to the east of Fairfax County, to the south of Arlington. We're going to talk about first the way this live stream is going to work. We're going to talk about a popular real estate topic at the beginning of the show. Then we'll get into the numbers, talk about what it costs to live in the City of Alexandria, some data points from the October numbers. We just crunched the October numbers, so it's only November 3rd. So the numbers usually are crunched on the 5th of the month, but I know we had this live stream coming up, so I wanted to make sure that we got that information to you all. Then Crystal's going to give us a couple things to do in the City of Alexandria. So we're so thankful that you're with us today. And let's start the show. What's up, Wanda Johnson? Before we start, let's clear out these comments. Hey, Wanda.
Hey,
how are
there.
You doing?
How you
good
doing?
to see you. You're up from LinkedIn. Oh, excellent. Yeah, we're streaming now on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. So wherever you're watching us, thank you so much for joining us. So the real estate topic today is how to choose a lender. We closed recently. I guess it was today is Wednesday. So last Thursday we had a closing where our client did not take our lender recommendation. This particular client, we gave them a couple referrals to some local lenders that we use in the. You got to push over something.
Okay.
We gave them a couple of referrals to some local lenders that we use on a normal basis, and they decided not to go with that particular lender. Now, I think we do a good job of making sure we don't guide the client to use our lender. We just let them know, hey, look, if you don't want to do the research, here are a couple lenders that we've had success with. So this is who we recommend that you use. Now, this particular client decided that they wanted to shop for a lender via the internet. Really, they just went on the internet and they just kind of filled out random forms. I think at one time this particular client was speaking with like 4 lenders at the same time.
I got pre-approval letters from 4 different internet lenders.
Right. So we got pre-approval letters from 4 different internet lenders. And usually, I got to be honest with you, usually I am opposed to using internet lenders just because of the fact that it's harder to control the transaction, right? Because if you think about it, when you hire a real estate agent, you're really hiring us to secure the property for you. You have a property you want, you hire us to get that property for you by any means necessary too. And so sometimes we see the lender as someone who can obstruct the process of you securing the asset that you want. And oftentimes, especially with internet lenders and Navy Federal, a local-ish company. That's another company that makes it challenging for us to do our job.
It's not as bad when they're local, though. Like, we had one a few months ago that, it was an internet lender. It was a Navy Federal lender, but they were local,
right?
And so that made it a little bit easier because of the same time zone. And I actually had a cell phone number I could call. I think that the biggest hurdle I run into with the internet lenders is the time zone difference.
Yes.
We're on the East Coast where, first thing in the morning here in America is on the East Coast. But when you're dealing with an internet lender, you may have somebody who is in, Pacific time zone. And so if we're trying to get things done, it's, 3 hours earlier for them. I can't call them on the phone. So sometimes that presents an issue for us as far as availability.
So communication is one of the key points that you want to use when you're choosing a lender. So this segment is about choosing a lender. Communication, how does the lender communicate, is going to be important for us and also important for you when gauging the effectiveness of this individual or this company. The particular lender that our client used, I'm not going to say their name, but they have like a whole team of people that are assigned to the client. So it's very challenging to figure out who
That's true.
is
So I would
in
reach
charge.
out. I would reach out to the loan officer with a question, and then he would filter through. He was like, "Well, let me check with this person," and then he would get back to me. Usually by the end of the day, so I'll give him that. Usually by the end of the day, he would get back to me, but he never had an answer for any of my questions.
Right.
It was always, "Let me check with Dave. Let me check with John." It was always a different person. It was every time he said he needed to check with somebody, it was always someone else.
Right.
And so that was a little bit of a challenge. And since we're talking about communication, another hurdle or challenge that we find is sometimes we don't have this person's phone number, or we don't have anything other than their office number. Now, I know some real estate agents or people in the industry want to say that it's like or want to attempt to believe that it's like a 9-to-5 job where you don't have to have their cell phone number. But a lot of our business happens after 5 p.m. on Friday and, between 5 p.m. Friday and 6 p.m. on Sunday.
That's
a
true.
lot of our business happens because that's when clients are available to see properties. That's when they tell Abraham they want to make an offer. And so typically what Abraham likes is for our lender to reach out to the listing agent.
Well, before we even go there,
Mhm.
when you find a lender that you like and that you feel like you want to do business with, because you don't necessarily have to already choose the lender that you want to use before we go into contract, right?
Mhm.
So the lender that you use to get your pre-approval letter, it may not be the same lender that closes the deal. We understand that,
Mhm.
and that's fine. The main thing that we want to do is we want to have at least a conversation or some type of communication between ourselves and the lender to see how they work, because a lot of the paperwork is on your side of the table, right? So you're buying the house, they're asking for your financials,
Mhm.
but there are certain deadlines that we have to meet on your behalf. There's some documentation that we need to provide the lender on your behalf. And we just like to be able to communicate with that individual at the beginning of the process.
And hear back promptly.
And for companies that are internet lenders, and this is just in case you're thinking about using an internet lender, this is just some of the challenges you may face. They may not be as prompt, and that's not their goal. Their goal is to be more affordable or provide you with the most savings.
Mm-hmm.
And so you have to weigh the pros and cons of the affordability aspect of it and their ability to communicate with you in a quick manner, because that's not why you hire them, right? It's not to say that they're not full service. It's not to say that they're like some type of discount service. That's not the point. The point is you just need to know when you're dealing with this particular company, this type of company, these are the challenges that you have, and communication is one of them. So if you know that up front, right, if you know that going in, then you can ask that person, or you can ask the automated system, however you log your information in, who is my point person? What is their contact information? What is their cell phone information? Can I introduce you to my real estate agent? That's what we really want you to do.
Mm-hmm.
We want you, with whatever lender you're communicating with, we want you to introduce us either via email, text message, whatever is the best way to for everybody to communicate.
Mm-hmm.
That allows us to start a dialogue with the lender on your behalf, because like I said, there's some things that we need to do for you that it becomes very challenging if the lender either A, has never heard of us, B, there is no introduction done, C, there's no contact information. You would be surprised how many of these internet lenders just don't have easy access to communication.
We can't get in touch with them, or we attempt to reach them over the weekend and we don't hear back until this business day, because we don't have a direct line of communication.
That's true.
And it really, I think it depends on the market, because if the market is a little bit slower, maybe you don't have to rush to get the lender to call. But in the market that we have been in, it's been advantageous for our buyers to have the lender call, the same day we put the offer in.
That's true. That's true.
And sometimes those offers go out over the weekend.
And this is all lumped in together with that communication piece. Mm-hmm. Communication throughout the entire process. Like Crystal alluded to, when you're placing an offer on a property, one of the things that we like to do to set your offer apart from the other buyers who are vying for their property, and really not even for other buyers, even if the market isn't going gangbusters, right?
Mm-hmm.
we want to make sure that the listing agent feels comfortable and confident with your offer and our services, our ability to represent you. And the way we do that is by making sure that we cross all the I's and dot all the T's, right? So you want to,
Okay.
I know. So you want to make sure that the lender is communicating with the listing agent, so then the listing agent feels at least knows about the lender. Because I'll tell you this, on my listings, when we get an internet lender, we try to make contact with the internet lender to make sure that that piece of paper that they send with your offer, it means a little something, right? Because if you think about it, those pre-approval letters don't mean nothing. They mean nothing at all. So a lot of this is good faith, and we're trying to maintain the good faith of the transaction as best we can, right? A lot of this is just like paper mache. There's no weight to it whatsoever, right? Think about it. What is a pre-approval letter? Some of you can get a pre-approval letter right now by providing your name, your address, not even your address sometimes, your social security number, and your estimate of your annual income, right? So that's all you need. You can get a pre-approval letter. So what is that document that we're looking at? It's nothing. So it's the relationships that we have, which translate into some type of value. So communication is important. Another thing too to consider is that it's not just about the rate, right? I would say that that's the second thing you want to think about or consider when you're choosing a lender. That yes, the rates can be advantageous to you, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't make your decision, or the rate shouldn't be high up on your decision making system or I guess algorithm or analysis, right? But you have to consider that some of the lenders can, if you don't get a good faith estimate or some type of cost worksheet that shows the true expense of the loan, the lender can move fees around to make it seem like the rate, right? The only thing you're focused on, the rate is better, but maybe they may have higher closing costs, higher other fees that
loan origination fees, things of that nature.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure, if you want to do an apples to apples comparison when it comes to a lender, get their fee sheet, right? Get their rate sheet, their closing estimate, whatever the name they have for this particular document. You want to get that document for all of the lenders that you're interviewing, right? And once you get those documents, compare those documents, and that will give you a better understanding of what the rate is. Like, how does the rate really affect my loan?
Yeah. And then one more thing, the last thing he has on the list is going to be history of success. And I think that for a lot of lenders, their reputation precedes them, and that's local or internet.
Right.
And so we have found success when we're in a competitive market, right? We found success when we're working with lenders who have a good reputation in the area. On a couple of occasions just this year, we've sent offers in for clients, and the agents have said, oh, I know this lender. I've worked with this lender before. They represented one of my buyers in the past, or I actually just did a transaction with this lender, representing a buyer on a listing that I had. And so sometimes that reputation is really important, and it's a people business. And so real estate agents and lenders have relationships, and it helps us to know their track record.
Right.
They either have a history of success or not.
If you're in a hot market, you'll most likely need to have 2 pre-approval letters when you are making an offer, if you want to use the internet lender. I guess this is what the segments will be called, using the internet lender, right? In a hot market, you're going to be, and especially because we're in Northern Virginia, our prices are higher. So we do have a lot of transactions over the entire region, but it's a large region, so it's not like a lot of transactions just stacked on top of each other. So with that being said, a lot of the listing agents are going to be the same. They're going to have a history with the community they live in or the area they service. So they have their preferences. And when you are placing an offer on a property and you want to use an internet lender, using remember, I said earlier, you don't have to use the lender that you received the pre-approval
Yes, you just
from,
have to use the same type of loan.
You just have to use the same type of loan.
Yeah.
So what you may want to do is you may want to actually get a second pre-approval letter from a local lender. And once your offer is accepted, then start the negotiation process with the lenders that you are choosing to use, right?
Which is what that last client did.
Right.
The one who got the 4 internet loans, the 4 different internet pre-approvals. He actually was pre-approved with one lender, and he hadn't made a decision at all which lender he was going to use. It wasn't until, I don't know, we're 4 or 5 days into the ratification period that he actually selected.
So when she says ratification period, that means we put the house under contract. That means all the parties agreed to the terms, and then our client was still shopping for a lender.
Yes.
Right? And I think,
which was frustrating for me.
Right. I mean, it is frustrating.
It was frustrating for me on the administrative side because there are some things that I'm trying to get going and get the ball rolling, and be mindful that you have to have this done within the first few days. Like you can change later in the transaction with notice, but still, like, you need to get the ball rolling as quickly as possible.
That's true. And one of the reasons why I wanted to have this conversation with you all, our guest, is that the internet lender performed, right? And our client got a great deal.
Great deal, great rate.
So
yes.
I got to say, I've been doing this for 13 years. I've always shied away from internet lenders just because of the stigma that's been attached to them, right? About the fact that maybe they don't communicate with you effectively, which is not a lie, right? The fact that the listing agents don't like offers from them, which is not a lie. But you could save some money. And
our clients did save money. And I will say, although they were not very proactive as far as communication, they always got back to me within the same business day.
Right.
And I actually got the clear to close quicker than some of our local lenders.
That's true.
So, I think that it's a scenario where you really have to evaluate whether it's reviews or talk to people who have worked with them in the past, whether it's talking to someone who may have used the internet lender, or talking to an agent who we had success with this lender. And so, I have a call set up for you and this lender in the coming weeks.
Excellent.
Just because they did such a good job for our client.
And we want to make sure that on our end, our clients are getting a great deal. And also you could trust our recommendation, right? Like yes, the local lenders that we refer you to, we've had lunch with them. We know them personally. They know our family. So there is like this relationship capital that's there that we're trying to abide by. But after this last transaction, after my client saved all of this money, and after you start to see the tangible benefits of some of these internet companies, it makes sense for you to just know, what are the cons that are going to, what are you going to face in the market using these types of entities, right?
And also, I think that our client had the advantage of he was not in a competitive situation. The property that he placed the offer on had been on the market for a little while. So I think that made it a little bit easier. It wasn't a situation where the house came on the market Friday and offers were due Sunday.
That's true.
So it wasn't one of those scenarios. So I think that benefited this particular client. I think that he benefited from this market. I don't know if he had put that same offer in. Well, of course we can't know. Would he have had the same results in, I don't know, August?
That's true. Yes. The market determines like how flexible or what type of options you have as a buyer, and also for a seller too. What I'm saying. The market determines like how creative you can be, right? And as the market starts to slow down just slightly, you may be able to do some more shopping. You may get to use some more options, and that's all great news on your end. And we are super excited that our client got the house they wanted, got the rate they wanted, got some discounts from the loan offers as well. All great stuff. And I want to have that conversation with you all just so you can know. Internet lenders, they're not all bad. This 13-year-old vet is coming around to this whole technology stuff. I I guess I'll stop sending faxes over, and also I'll stop sending mail out with my
snail mail
correspondence. Yeah. So, anything else you wanted to add about internet lenders?
Well, we weren't actually talking about internet lenders. We were talking about choosing a lender. So not just internet lenders.
Yeah, but the conversation
went to internet lenders. I think that I'm good. I think that that's everything.
Excellent. So before we go into our next segment, if you have any questions, have you used the internet lender yourself? Have you used the internet lender? Let us know in the comment section down below. How was your experience with the internet lender? What internet lender did you use? Would you recommend them? Was it a great experience? How was the communication? Did your offer get accepted? Did you have to use some type of strategy to get your offer accepted? Like, how was the whole process? Let us know. I'm sure other people will love to hear your experience down below in the comment section.
Excellent.
All right, let's clear out some of these chats before we move on. Francisco, what's up, Francisco? How are you doing? Francisco has on a suit, so we're going to assume he's some type of professional person. Hello, professional Francisco. And then he says, what'd you say?
I'm just looking at his comment, sorry.
Love the channel. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the support. Speaking of the channel, we made it to 1,000 subscribers.
We did make it to 1,000 subscribers this week.
Yay.
A little confetti to fall down.
You know, I thought about doing some confetti type stuff, but I just didn't do anything. So as far as like what does 1,000 subscriber mean to you all? Not much. Well, you know, there is one thing that we can do now that we weren't able to do before we had 1,000 subscribers, which is we can actually do live streams from our mobile devices. Now you may not know why this is important to us, or I don't know if I explained this to you.
I don't know either.
I haven't explained it to Crystal either. One of the things that I like to do is we like to go on walks. And how cool would it be if we go through one of our walks and we're on a live stream? So you could join us on the live stream and we'll be walking live. And if you have any questions, maybe you want us to see a certain section of the walk, you can comment down below. So that's one of the things that I'm looking forward to doing. It's fall now, so the weather is about to get a little wonky. But after fall is winter.
It's winter,
right?
So I don't know, but you know, when spring rolls around.
Spring
rolls around.
So thank you all so much for your support and getting us to 1,000 subscribers. If you have any content ideas, if you think you want to see anything from us, we do this channel for you all. So let us know down below in the comment section. We always answer all of our comments.
Excellent.
All right. Let's see. All right.
All right, so we're going to get into some market stats now. This week's video, we're talking about the City of Alexandria.
Yes.
Each week we cover a different part of Northern Virginia. So far, over the last 3 weeks, we've done Fairfax County, Prince William County. Last week we did Arlington, and now we have moved on to City of Alexandria, which is the last topic for, I would say, this month, because this is the last one of this 4-week series.
Yes.
We're technically in November now.
That's true. What you're looking at right now on the screen is the top sales from October 2021. I want to leave that on the screen for you just so you can kind of get an idea of what prices are going for in the City of Alexandria. As you can see where the zip codes are. So if you're looking at this information and you kind of want to make sense of it, we're actually going to put up a zip code map shortly so you can kind of see where these zip codes are. But these are the top home sale prices. And the City of Alexandria, let me get this off the screen now. Let's get it back to our beautiful faces. Excellent. So the City of Alexandria consists of 7 zip codes. In October 2021, the average sales price was $658,000. The number of units sold, the number of home sales, was 276. That's down 17% year over year. And then days on market were just above 21 days, so 21.1 days. And that's an increase of 2 days from year over year. So not really much of a change in the days on market number compared to, Arlington was crazy, right?
Yeah.
It was a whole month. So it'd be interesting to see what Arlington's numbers look like in our next video.
Our next Arlington video.
Our next Arlington video
in 3 weeks.
In 3 weeks. But as you can see, average sales price $658. So that means that we do have a considerable number of VA buyers in this the City of Alexandria market. 10% of all the transactions were VA home buyers. The reason why I mentioned that is because a lot of you all are relocating from to a Pentagon or to Fort Belvoir or Andrews or something like that. And so you probably want to know like where all the other military people living at. City of Alexandria, 10% of all the transactions, which is just for the month of October. That was 100. I'm sorry, 10% total. So just for that region, you know, it's a large number, but when we look at the zip code, you'll see that those are all going to be in certain locations. So you're not going to be living in Old Town. Okay, I'm sorry to say.
Not Delray either.
Yes. So no. There are parts of the City of Alexandria area that are still going to be off limits just because of the average sales price in those particular markets, right? But 10%, that's still a huge number right there as well. The average sales price is down by 6% year over year, which makes sense because last year was an interesting year coming off of the pandemic. So the market was roaring even at the end, even in this October, November time frame. So just a 6% decrease is, in my opinion, that's a reasonable decrease for this area. The units sold, this is the part right here where the 276 units sold, which is a 17% decrease from last year. This is going to be something that we're going to be watching because this may be a signal that we're actually going back into just a normal market. We normally don't have that many transactions as we go into the winter season. So it's not uncommon. And last year was not a normal year.
Yes, last year was an anomaly. Usually in the winter, we see a decrease in transactions. The business slows down. We did not see that so much last year. And so although we were hopeful that that would continue, that does not seem to be the case. That's not what the numbers have been showing us over the last few weeks.
That's true.
So it looks like we're going back into a more normal market right now.
And I just want to show you all how the units sold look. Let's see. Okay, let's share our screen. All
right, so Abraham's going to show us a quick table. It's going to have the breakdown of the units sold by zip code, and we're also going to take a look at the average sales price in the different areas in a second.
So here are the units sold, and as you can see, the Old Town zip code is going to be this 22314 right here. It is one of the largest zip codes. It's also one of the areas that has the most condominiums, right? And so because there's more condos, there's just more transactions in this little large zip code here, and that's where the highest density for the City of Alexandria area is going to be. And as you move out, you have a little bit less sales throughout the area. It'll be interesting to watch. I think you can see my arrow. Yeah, you can see my arrow. It'll be interesting to watch this 22305 and also the tip of the 22314 zip code as Amazon continues to move into the Crystal City area, since this is going to be the closest part of the Old Town area that kind of neighbors to the Amazon HQ2 complex. So let's look at one more diagram, a little map that I made for you all.
And then we'll get to Francisco's question about Alexandria after that. So we'll get to your question in just a second, Francisco.
All right. And then we're just gonna look at the average sales price. So you can see like where people are living. The most expensive zip code is 22301 right outside of the
Old Town area. So that's going to be Delray.
Yeah.
22310. It's going to be Delray.
And Delray is at 1.04 million. And then the 22305 is going to be the next most expensive zip code. That's going to be $837,000. And then the 4, which is going to be the Old Town area, is going to be $801,000, which is actually down 19% year over year. And the reason why I want to show you this particular graphic here is just so you can see like where, if you're a military client and you move to the area, you're probably not going to be staying in the zip codes that are right near the Potomac River. So the Potomac River is right here on the eastern side of the 22314 zip code. You're probably not going to be able to afford this particular area here, which is VA loan, but there are some inner parts or more eastern part of the city of Alexandria where we'll see more military clients. All right, and let's get to Francisco's question. Francisco said, planning on moving to Northern Virginia in a year, and your channel is a great start. Planning on working in Roslyn. How far is Alexandria for commute? What are my best options for commute? Great question, Francisco. There's two things to consider. Alexandria, it actually has it means two things. So there's the City of Alexandria, which this video is about. And then there's also the Alexandria Fairfax County area. Alexandria Fairfax County is going to be south of the City of Alexandria. So I think that you'll need to decide which one of those you're referencing. Some people have different reasons for choosing to live on either one of those areas. So that's going to be important. But yeah, I really can't answer that question because those two areas put together are rather large.
Are massive. It's probably the largest part of Northern Virginia is going to be if you include the City of Alexandria and Alexandria Fairfax County. That's like the largest part of Northern Virginia.
Right.
But I think that 22305 is going to be the closest to Roslyn, right? If
that is going to be the closest, but it's going to be one of the more expensive. So I guess it depends on your budget, Francisco. Your budget will dictate your commute. That's what we always see in the Northern Virginia area. And also your ability to live with less space. So if you're comfortable in a smaller place, then a lot more options are available to you. If you need a garage or if you need 3 or 4 bedrooms, then
our single family home, because that's really where especially if you're going to be in Alexandria, that's really where you're going to start seeing the biggest difference. But the good thing is various parts, it depends on your commute plans also. Do you plan on driving or will you be using a metro system? Because there are a couple of different parts throughout Alexandria that have access to the metro. So if you're in Old Town, you're not far from the metro. There's one coming in Potomac Yard, but it's not there yet.
Right.
And then if you're in we're in Alexandria, Kingstown area, Fairfax County, Alexandria, and we have the blue line in our area. There's also the yellow line, the Huntington line over in the Huntington area. So there are a couple of different spots throughout Alexandria that are close to the metro. So it really just depends on how you plan on getting how you plan on commuting. Because again, Alexandria is a pretty large area.
Sorry to not give you an answer, Francisco. I just noticed we didn't even answer your question. It depends, Francisco. I mean, I would say that if you're living in the City of Alexandria, let's say that your budget is, money is no object for you, and you live in the more expensive part of the City of Alexandria, you're probably looking at like a 25-minute commute to the Roslyn area. After that, who knows? Yeah. I guess at the most, you're probably looking at like a 40-minute commute. And also it depends on what time of the day you're going to work. So you'll need to get those stats for us to have a more, give you a better answer. But thank you so much for tuning into the channel. We look forward to meeting you next year. And, excellent. Yeah. So Francisco says, good to know. Thanks for clarification. I'll do more research. Yeah. Like I said, Francisco, your budget is going to really determine your commute time in this area. Also, whether or not you have kids and what type of quality, what type of school experience you want to have for them will also dictate where you live in the area. So a lot of people, when they're moving to the area, Francisco, they're choosing between commute Well, I don't know if commute is first. It's either commute or the quality of the school if they have a family.
Yes. Well, it's usually three things. And we tell people that you'll trade. A lot of times you'll trade off. If you want to stay within your budget, then it might mean a longer commute if your budget isn't that high, right?
Right.
Or you may end up going over your budget, your perceived budget, so that you can have a shorter commute. So it really just depends on those two things. Either you're gonna I once read on a military spouse blog about PCSing here, and it was like you have these three priorities, which is the type of house you want, your commute time, and your budget. And it said that you would get two of those three things.
Yes.
You'll get two of the three, but maybe not all three.
Yes. And if money is no object, then you get everything. You can get everything, yes. Francisco.
If money is no object, then
let's negotiate a better. Francisco, negotiate a great deal for yourself and Roslyn, and we'll help you find whatever house you desire. Back to the Alexandria numbers. In closing, Alexandria is going well. The city of Alexandria, the numbers are looking positive. While there is a slight decrease in the average sales price, nothing really to be concerned about, in my opinion. We're still seeing kind of business as usual with the days on market. The number of units sold isn't something that should be alarming because we still see the average sales price. We still see the average sales price kind of high, and then we still see the days on market at about the same it was last year. So that means that people are taking the same amount of time to look for properties, put houses under contract. Sellers aren't desperate. They are trying to figure out something to do with their property. So you should expect to see the same thing moving forward into the winter season. And as always, with the market numbers or just market stats in general, the best time, if you're buying a house, the best time to get a deal is going to be in the winter season. If somebody's selling a house in the winter, they have to sell. There's something causing them not to be able to wait until the springtime, which is the best time of the year to sell a property, right? So if you have somebody trying to sell their house the season before the season where most people make the most amount of money and sell their houses at the quickest time, then that is the time to jump on an opportunity if you have the ability, right? Because you may also have to line up.
Exactly, right? If you're relocating here, you may have to be here by a certain date. So.
That's true. That's true. We have a couple clients right now, thankful to the YouTube channel, that are relocating in the winter season. So those individuals are probably going to be able to negotiate some closing costs. They're going to probably be able to get really favorable terms, do a lot of shopping. So really, again, the winter season is the best time, in my opinion, to buy. And that's also what the data shows.
Excellent.
Excellent. What did you think about the numbers?
I actually was surprised that the days on market hadn't changed more, just because of what we learned about the Arlington market last week.
Right.
So I was expecting similar numbers. I was surprised by that.
I think the main selling point for Arlington is its proximity to the DC area. I think that the city of Alexandria is one of the few places in the region that actually has like a history to it, right? So it's more of a charm living in the city of Alexandria. So I think it's one of those things that it's going to be harder to have a depressed or a slower market in the city of Alexandria, just because, I mean, a lot of people just want to be there. I mean, we like going there, and the houses are super cute. Even the houses that are not in the city of Alexandria, the Del Rey houses. Del Rey has just
that's City of Alexandria. You mean not Old Town?
Old Town, yeah.
Yeah.
When I think of City of Alexandria,
I only think of Old Town. I know. You do.
Well, that's the only place. That's the place I go the most.
Yeah.
But yeah, the city of Alexandria as a whole, I think, will continue to have just a thriving market, and that's good. That's good if you're buying a home. You know that your investment is safe. That's good if you're selling a home, because you know that you'll be able to get rid of your property and move on to the next stage of life. Okay, let's get into some more comments, and then we'll go into our next section. Let's see. Francisco says, good to know for the clarification. I'll do more research. Excellent, Francisco. And then Anne-Marie says, interesting, good to know. Thanks for watching, Anne-Marie. Anne-Marie watches all of our videos. We appreciate your support.
Hey there.
Anne-Marie, we hope you're having a wonderful start to this, to November. And also, it's getting chilly in Northern Virginia. You know, before we start talking about we have one more
from Francisco.
Francisco. I have a lot of questions. Maybe you have some time the next few days and discuss my particular situation. You know what, Francisco? I'm glad you teed us up for that, Francisco, because we actually have a link in the description. Do we have a link in this description?
Did you put it in there?
I don't know if it's in there. Anyway,
if he didn't, he's going to have to add it for our perfect home questionnaire.
We have a perfect home questionnaire, Francisco. You can fill out the form for that perfect home questionnaire, and then that'll start the process for us to put you on my calendar, and we'll schedule a Zoom session where we'll kind of chop it up just like this. I'll answer every question that you have about moving to the Northern Virginia area. And that goes for anybody else watching, right? Mm-hmm. Just fill out the perfect home questionnaire. And I believe there's actually in this little scrolling ticker box down here. Actually, there's information for the link to the perfect home questionnaire, so you can fill that out and we can schedule a time. There's also a way for you to, my phone number and email address is also in the little ticker box down there too. So Francisco, look forward to talking to you about your real estate needs. All right. Okay, before we start talking about what you want to talk about, I know you have some things to do that you want to tell the people about.
I do.
The weather is changing. It is.
It's our favorite time of year.
Fall is our favorite time of year,
but
cold is not our favorite.
It's not
our favorite thing, but we love fall. Fall is just amazing here.
It's so beautiful. If you have not been, love it. It's just so beautiful. We when we moved here, we're from New Orleans, and we moved here, we just thought fall meant like brown leaves, like all the leaves fall off the trees.
Right.
Not the case here. Like, we love the beautiful colors. Had no clue that trees came in like orange, red, purple until we moved here.
That's true.
Just beautiful.
Actually, there's been several instances where I've almost wrecked my car because I've been looking at the leaves, because it's shocking to see the season change. If you come from a place that only goes from green to brown, which is what New Orleans does, right? New Orleans, it's hot and then it's slightly
less hot. It's a little less hot.
And then the trees kind of just die. The leaves don't fall, they burn off. They just get incinerated, right? And so you move here, and then we have a true 4 seasons, which is another great reason to move to this area. And it's just beautiful. It's like nature's just doing a show for a good solid, I would say, 3 weeks, and it's just, you can't beat it. The sun also changes colors too. So the sun, I learned this from the boys, I believe.
And he says the boys, he means our sons.
Yes, our sons. The fellas, they're 11 and 13 at the time of this shoot airing. And the sun's rays reflect off of the different colors of the leaves. And so like there's this beautiful hue in the morning that you just cannot replicate. Like it's so amazing. So I want to tell you about the weather. With the weather, so let's just powwow about the weather. You will, if you're moving here from somewhere else and you're not used to 4 seasons, if you never have 4 seasons, like if you're from the South, or if you're from a country that is close to the equator, you're going to need a jacket. Okay.
A coat.
Yeah, that's what they call it.
We thought we had coats when we moved here.
Right. That's not true.
9 years ago. We did not have coats. We had slightly bigger jackets, maybe. I don't know. But you will need a true coat, but not for long. And you won't even probably need it this year. Like, you'll need it in January. It doesn't get terribly cold. As we've been here for a few years, it took you a few years, but as we've lived here for a while, we don't get as cold. Like, this guy used to put on like his huge, like a big puff jacket in like November, and you can get by with just like a light sweatshirt.
It's 35 degrees today. Don't tell those people that. You're gonna need a coat.
I wore a hoodie when I went out today. I noticed that Theodore wore his coat this morning.
I wore a hoodie. Shorts. My roommate in college used to wear shorts when it was freezing cold in New Orleans. So you need a coat. Just get yourself, as soon as you move to the area, get yourself a coat if you're not used to coats. Get yourself a coat, get yourself some scarves. You're gonna need some scarves. I would recommend, if you're a hat person, get yourself some beanies, right? Or some earmuffs. I like the boys like the earmuffs too. I like earmuffs as well. Gloves. Get yourself some gloves. You will need these things, right? You don't think so?
No, I mean, but you over prepare for everything. So this is just, you have it if you need it. So if I need a scarf, I know there are plenty of scarves in the coat closet. for those 2 days in the winter when I need them, I know where to find them. So I think that for a lot of people, once you live here for a little while, you get used to the weather. Like for me, I don't really pull my coat out until around Christmas. I'll be fine with just like a slightly heavier jacket through December. But
wait. You got to give the caveat. You work from home. These people are going to work. They're going to work. They have real jobs.
This is true. I'm only walking from my front door to the mailbox most days.
Yes, if you're
I went for a walk today in a hoodie, just so you know. I went for a walk today in a hoodie.
Like I said, get yourself a jacket. Get yourself a jacket. You will need a jacket in this area. Don't fool yourself. Don't kid yourself. It gets cold here. So,
okay.
Excellent.
Okay. Well, I'm going to move on to some of the things to do. And one of the things that we can always do, even when it gets cold, is the Old Town Farmers Market. So the Old Town Farmers Market is located in Old Town at the Market Square Plaza. And it is actually the oldest farmers market in the country. And it is every Saturday, rain or shine, from 7 a.m. to noon. It is in fact so old that George Washington used to send his produce from his house from Mount Vernon to be sold at the Old Town Farmers Market.
I wonder if they can let us in here with this little elaborate
during peak season, there are a lot of vendors, like over 70 vendors during peak season. Right now, as the weather changes, not right now, because like I said, it's not that cold yet.
We'll show you guys some videos.
But in the future, there'll be a few less vendors, but you can get pretty much everything you need at the farmers market. There are lots of vendors selling not just produce, but also you can get, there's a butcher there, fresh produce, baked breads, tea, coffee, homemade pickles, candles. I mean, pretty much everything you can think of. Pasta,
mushrooms.
Yes, he did spend $20 on mushrooms 2 weeks ago, and that's what happens.
They don't even know how much you spent.
That's what happens when I send him to the farmers market alone.
There she is.
You see her?
But anyway, so it has been it's been there for such a long time. You can get hot food there. We're stopping by to get hot food in just a second in this video. If you guys see, this is actually our walking tour of the Old Town Farmers Market right there. You can stop by and get a beautiful bouquet of flowers. So this is actually one of the cool things about Old Town, because a lot of the farmers market throughout Northern Virginia are only from, I want to say, maybe like Memorial Day to Labor Day, or maybe it's Memorial Day to Veterans Day. And then once the weather changes, they close. I know that's the case for most of them in Fairfax County.
That's true. There's only a couple all year round farmers markets. Old Town has one. I believe Falls Church also has another one that's all year round. While we're talking about the Old Town Farmers Market, one of the best breakfast burritos in the land is right here at Zuzu's Cuisine. Go shout them out, give them a call. You have to get the breakfast burrito. It's delicious. Hala and her people do a great job. Hala is also a past client of ours. So my opinion is biased. But I love great food, and I wouldn't steer you clear. You got to get a breakfast burrito.
Yes, breakfast burrito is great. I get the chicken shawarma, which I think is the best shawarma I've ever had. And so even though we usually go at like 9 in the morning, I still will have the shawarma because it's so good that I just can't pass it up. I don't care if it's 9 in the morning. I don't care if I have to have it with coffee on the side. I'm going to have the chicken shawarma.
Zuzu Cuisine. Yep. So that number is 703-401-7758. Give them a call. Let them know that Where to Live in Northern Virginia sent you. But anything else you want to talk about with the farmers market?
That's it. We're going to talk about something else in Old Town next, though. For the most part, we're talking about things to do in Old Town during this video, because I want to make sure that I kind of spread out the different places over the next videos. So next up, we're going to talk about just walking down King Street. So it's actually known as one of the greatest American walks. If you have never been to King Street, it is absolutely beautiful. We love the architecture, cobblestone streets. You can see this is the walking tour video that Abraham did. This is Kingstown at night. It was
King Street.
King Street, not Kingstown.
Yes,
we live in Kingstown. King Street at night. And so you can actually see this is around this time last year. So they had the holiday lights out. and there are lots of different restaurants and shops down here. I actually want to point out, if you see right here, I think he's in like the 100 block of King Street. So I'll segue to something else I wanted to mention, which was, you know, right now during the pandemic, a lot of restaurants have started offering outdoor seating, and that's common throughout the country. Well, in a 100 block of King Street, the city council actually voted just last week to make this change permanent.
Nice.
So they are going to close off this area right here for the 100 block of King Street from now on. So it's closed to cars
Motorized
and
vehicles.
Motorized vehicles altogether. And so now it actually makes a pretty interesting outdoor seating area. It'll be interesting to see how things pan out during the winter. I mean, but this video was recorded in November, and they still have plenty of people out. So they said that it's been good for their traffic. It's kind of had people linger or hang out a little bit longer.
Excellent.
So we enjoyed this little walk here. We take the kids. There's an ice cream shop down this block here, so we'll take the kids to get a little ice cream and then walk on down to the Potomac River.
Also, I love the fact that the City of Alexandria voted to close off this 100 block, because it makes it to be like almost like a plaza where you get to eat on the street. There's so much activity as well, and I think that this is going to propel the Old Town area to untold chartered new territory right now, because this makes it to where it's almost like a festival year round, right?
That's true. Now, I will say that there was some hesitancy from some residents about it, and also some of the retail stores. I think that this is great for restaurants. I absolutely agree. However, I don't think it's so good for retail stores.
Why is that?
Because a lot of people, like in this video, you're walking on the sidewalk, but you know, when we went there this summer, most of the people were walking in the street.
That's true.
So if you're walking in the middle of the street, that means that you're not stopping in at the stores on the side. And a lot of those stores depend on that trickle in traffic.
Yeah.
As someone, you know, from my experience working in retail, a lot of those sales are going to come from people who just so happen to stop by, you know, happenstance sales. And so I think it's great for the restaurants. We'll see how long this lasts. They say it's permanent, so we'll see how it affects those.
Permanent?
Well, no, we'll see how long it is permanent. I mean, it's permanent now, but I can't imagine if the smaller stores continue to have issues that, you know, that doesn't come up again in the future.
Excellent. Great coverage, Crystal.
I am not done with things to do, though. So we have a couple more things that I want to cover as far as options for things to do in the city of Alexandria. Next up, I want to talk to you guys about Port City Brewing, which is a brewery located just 2 blocks from Old Town. So it has been open for about 10 years, and it is the oldest brewery in the DC metro area. And so they have a couple different, like I think they have 5 brews that are always on tap, and then they also have like a few seasonals and one-offs that they have every now and again. They have a tasting room. You can do tours there. And so it is a really great time if you want to go in and stop by. They have events all the time, and you can also book the space for private events. Abraham is showing some of their upcoming events. Not only do they have events there, but you can also sometimes catch them at local food trucks, which is really cool. And then finally, you can catch us at this next thing that I'm interested in us doing. There's actually going to be an art exhibit at the Ray Artisans Gallery. It actually starts on this Friday, and Abraham and I will be visiting over the weekend. Yes. That is true. It's on your calendar.
Excellent. We will be there.
We will be there. I put it on your calendar.
Oh, it says the 28th, right?
It's until the 28th.
It's until the 28th. Okay.
And so it starts on this Friday, and so it's called the Groovy Movies Exhibit. And essentially, we're going to be looking at exhibits that are going to be takes are inspired by motion pictures and different movies. And so it's everything from like Abbott and Costello meets Frankenstein to like Zoolander. So, you know, modern and classic films. Is being put on in part by the Alexandria Film Festival. So I am really excited. Hopefully we can get some good shots, and maybe they'll let us bring the camera in and get a few images, and maybe we can put that in one of our future videos, our next Alexandria video. So that exhibit is starting on Friday, and that is where we will be this weekend.
That's the cool thing about living in the city of Alexandria. They have so much to do. We just have so much to do. I love that the King Street area, the farmers market, the waterfront
The
as well.
Potomac River is just beautiful.
Yes, and we have the farmers market, the King Street, and we have the waterfront all on our channel.
We have 3 different videos.
If you're looking for some videos walking through those different areas, you've come to the right place. You don't have to go to another place. Don't go anywhere else. Let me just clear out some comments while you're getting ready for your next topic. Anne-Marie, I think Anne-Marie was laughing at us because of your thinking that you don't need a coat.
I think she was laughing at the fact that you have so many, but it's okay. Keep going.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then Anne-Marie also said, we haven't had a blizzard in a while, so it is better to. Thank you, Anne-Marie. She's on my side. Thank you. Yes, prepare, people. Prepare. Winter is coming. Yes.
Winter is always coming. It's just that sometimes winter doesn't mean snow. But anyway, so finally, I always like to talk about the schools in the area just to give you an idea of what the school ratings are some of the schools that are available in the area. You may not know that Alexandria, the city of Alexandria, only has one high school, or at least one public high school. And so that is the Alexandria City High School, which is formerly called T.C. Williams. And so it is your only option for a public high school if you have older kids who will be attending school in the city of Alexandria. The ratings on them are mixed. On this school is mixed. So if you see here, Abraham has pulled up U.S. News, which if you're familiar with our videos, it's my favorite site and my go-to site to look up school ratings. It's kind of middle of the pack for the state of Virginia. Is rated number 227 out of the entire state. It's not, when we're looking at Fairfax County schools, for the most part, they're typically in like the top 25 and even, in the top 25 overall. So it's rated a little bit lower. Same with Great Schools. Great Schools gave it a 2 out of 10. But then on niche.com, it has a B. So if you see right here, we have niche. It has an overall rating as a B. And then Great Schools gave it a 2 out of 10. What I always tell parents is to try to find locals, because we know people who've had students at T.C. Williams or at Alexandria City is what it's called now. Niche hasn't updated it yet. But we have friends, or we know, or have had colleagues who had their kids go to that school, and they actually were pretty happy with it. So we always tell people to try and find a parent, find a Facebook group, or go on to a message board and talk to actual parents, because I think that makes the biggest difference. You can't just look at only what you see online, because as you can see, it varies. Niche says it's a B. Meanwhile, Great Schools gave it a 2 out of 10.
That's true. I will say though, the city of Alexandria is interesting in the sense that there is, you saw earlier the average sales price was $658, but then once you got closer to the water, it went up to $800 to $1 million for the average sales price. And the higher the average sales price, the more options those parents have. And you'll notice that the city of Alexandria has a few private schools.
They have 4 private high schools.
Yes. So
only 1 public high school, but 4 private. And so
so that means that a lot of people are opting out of sending their kids to public schools and to private. So one of the reasons why this video is named 5 Reasons Not to Live in City of Alexandria, other than being clickbait, is also to just point out that moving to the city of Alexandria, it's as expensive as most of Northern Virginia. And if you have a family, it becomes even more expensive, because there is an opportunity for you to either be not pleased with the performance or the availability of the one, there's only one
high school,
right? The option that you have, right? And then to feel like you have to send your kid to a private school, right? And so then what does that increase your cost of living in the area if you're spending another $20,000 to $35,000 per year per kid? That's right, people.
That's how much private school is.
That's how some of these
we looked
private
into it.
Are $35,000 per kid, right? And so if you're spending more than $500,000 for a house, and on top of that, you also have private school, which is almost the same cost as college tuition, you got to think about that.
Or at least college tuition when we were in school.
Right. Yes, exactly. So you just want to think about that when you
Mhm.
move to this part of the area. Yes, City of Alexandria has so many cute things about it, and they have so much history, so much culture.
Mhm. And I mean, honestly, it's a place that we've talked about moving when the kids are gone.
When the kids
it's
are
not
gone,
a place that we've considered as parents. Yeah.
Did you have anything else you wanted to show on the?
That is it for TC Williams, and that is it from me.
Excellent. So there you no, I'm let's clear out some of these comments. If you have any comments right now, we're going to stay on for a few more minutes. We're running over a little bit. We'd like to keep you all for at least 1 hour. We're at 1 hour right now. But the talking segment, Crystal, when she starts talking, she just goes on and on and on.
I think you already cleared.
I think I've already cleared. Okay, excellent. So good. Anything else about City of Alexandria for the guest?
No. Well, that's it for this week. I already have an idea of what we're going to talk about when we do Alexandria again in 4 weeks.
City of Alexandria.
Right. And next week we'll be back in our home base in Fairfax County.
Yes. So good. So next week we'll actually do a community in Fairfax County versus. We started this series off just talking about the overall area, and now we're going to niche down to talk about the different communities that are available for you all, the options that you have to yourself. And the goal is to give you a better idea when you're moving to the Northern Virginia area. Every week we'll do a different section of Northern Virginia. So we're covering Fairfax County as a region, Arlington, Prince William County, and the City of Alexandria. So if you're moving to those 4 areas, tune in every week, or at least to the week that corresponds to your
desires for
desired
a home
community.
in Northern. And for the most part, I think that we see a lot of people, at least that watch this channel, are looking at primarily those first 3. Arlington. Well, and that makes sense because those are the 3 largest: Arlington, Prince William, and Fairfax.
That's true.
Because Alexandria is the smallest of the 3.
To be honest with you,
population-wise.
I mean, City of Alexandria had the same number of sales almost as Arlington.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's not. I think that Arlington is the most popular area here. So most people know about Arlington, and then they find out about Fairfax County. Right. I don't think anybody knows what Fairfax County is until you find out.
Move into Northern Virginia.
Right. Well, and also you find out you can't afford to live in Arlington.
That's true.
A lot of people
that little wake up call, and then you're like, oh, well, where else can I move?
Where else can I move?
Where else do they have houses?
And then you find out about the seat of Fairfax. But I think that some people already know about City of Alexandria because it has so much history. Right. It's more of a tourist destination. So my name is Abraham Walker. This is Crystal Walker, my host and wife.
Co-host.
And co-host.
And wife.
So I handle the sales side of the business. Crystal handles the administrative side of the business. So we make up the Ask a Walker team. We do these videos as a way to interview for the job before you meet us. We know how intimate the real estate search process is, and what better way of you knowing who you're going to work with than to jump in on one of these videos, see how we communicate, see our ability to research and to intelligently knowledgeable, be knowledgeable about the area. Because if you're relocating to the area, or even if you live here, you just don't know a real estate agent. Your friend maybe just referred you to somebody. How do you know what that person knows? You really don't, right? And most people just don't know how to interview real estate agents. So we do this channel, we have this channel, we do these videos so that you learn more information than you would otherwise know, because we do a lot of research to put these videos together, and B, so you can interview us. So if you like what you see, our contact information is going to be right there in this little ticker thing right here at the bottom right there. There's also a link in the description. If there isn't one right now, there will be very shortly.
Within the next few minutes.
Yes, there will be a link in the description to our Perfect Home Questionnaire. It's a few questions that we ask you to fill out about your upcoming real estate needs. Once you fill that out, you'll get on my schedule, and then we'll schedule a Zoom session. On that Zoom session, it'll last anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour, and I'll answer any questions that you have about relocating to the Northern Virginia area. And that's it.
That's it.
That is it.
Excellent.
Would have any more questions? Woo.
All right. Well, thank you so much for watching. We'll be back next week. Make sure you check out that Perfect Home Questionnaire. Have a good one.
Peace.